Last month, no less than 3 government ministers, Catherine Martin, Dara Callery and Simon Coveney, together launched Ireland's first roadmap for digital creative industries. And it's been a really interesting read. The fact that 3 government ministers and 2 departments collaborated on this report gives a bit of an indication of how hard it can be to pigeonhole digital creative industries or to even understand what that actually means. The roadmap starts out, as any good story should, by setting the scene and introducing the characters. In this case, what do they actually mean by digital creative industry? And they set it out, I think, very clearly as understanding that to be the design industry, commercial design, interior design, and services design, and so on, but also the digital gaming industry. And the third element is the content creation industry. Today, in the first ever GASP video podcast, I've invited Lyndsey Hall, who is the head of digital communications and strategy at Piquant, and Kevin King, who's design director at Piquant, to have a chat about what this digital creative industries actually means. My name is Roisin Buckley. I'm a company director at Piquant, and you are so welcome to GASP. All right. Okay, are we ready? Feeling okay? Yeah. First up, Lyndsey, I want you to talk me through what it means to be head of digital communications and strategy. What does that even mean? And which of those 3 digital creative industries do you identify in the work that you do?
Yeah, so in that roadmap, the sector that I most identify with is definitely the content creation sector, because basically as head of digital communications at Piquant, what I do is lead on our work on digital campaigns for clients and also just digital comms in general. So what that means is working with clients to run digital campaigns to promote a particular initiative or event or message, but also working with them on strategy for their overall digital comms. What that means more specifically, I suppose, working on campaigns in particular, is helping clients with developing a campaign strategy, putting together a really detailed campaign schedule of what's actually going to happen throughout the campaign, and then looking after the actual management of the campaign and all the way through to reporting. So the roadmap is definitely such a welcome announcement to bring together these different sectors. So it makes sense that I'm sitting here with Kevin.
Excellent. Yeah, I know. And for some people, that whole content creation, it can feel very wishy-washy, and it can feel to some people like it doesn't actually really mean a whole lot. But for those of us who work in there, it's a term we have been using all the time.
Yeah.
And it's pretty exciting to see it kind of in print, isn't it? And
yeah,
that it's
recognized. Yeah. And what we do in particular is putting the strategy behind that. So yes, content creation can sound wishy-washy, but we're thinking about content from the strategy development stage all the way through to the actual production of it and the placing of it across different social channels. So definitely.
Okay, excellent. Right, Kevin, you're design director at Piquant. So you're definitely in what they have identified as the commercial design sector. So I know for a long time, it seems that the government has kind of put together design and craft, and they've been in any sort of strategic review or report or anything along those lines, they lump the 2 of them together. And I know for us working in the commercial design, that hasn't really been a good fit. It hasn't really aligned maybe with how we see ourselves or what it is that we do. So can you tell me what's your perspective on this new kind of identification of the digital creative industries? And do you think it's a fair description of what you do?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because while we've been removed from the craft part of it, we're now being combined with the design sector, the digital gaming sector, and the content creation sector. And they're all within those, their subdivisions as well. And what I find really interesting is that brand agencies, while traditionally would have been in the design sector, it's moved into the content creation sector. And that speaks to the kind of the digital way that people consume media these days. Brand just has to be always growing and living and just moving forward. Whereas traditionally it was more of a physical thing that you could pick up and hold. So I think it really does work for us. But you're not going to keep everyone happy all of the time. So if you look at the industrial design sector, I can't imagine they'd be too happy with digital being associated with us. But it works for us. But I think what's more important than the name is the approach. And you could call us whatever you want, any name under the sun, but the fact that the approach, they're using the same approach that they use for the film and TV and animation, and you see the success that they've had with that, bringing in exports and just international work. I think that's really what's most important about it.
Yeah, well, and what works super well in film and TV industry is, of course, the tax opportunities. So they're not in there yet. No.
But I think what was in the report, which was really interesting, was the reindustrialization of Europe, and that how design thinking can just help industries upstream in their kind of, their R&D, and then downstream when it's talking to clients as well. So they can see the value that the design thinking and just the design process has within the whole, just as a growth opportunity.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think like I was really, really encouraged to see the word digital in there because as you both know, last year we did our first ever GASP event, and the name of that was the business of digital storytelling. And I feel really heard right now once that report was launched, because that's what we were trying to get to, the heart of, we are creatives, but it is different from craft and it is different from artists because it is business. And what we've identified certainly at Piquant is that digital is where it's at. Like, we still do print, obviously,
of course, yeah.
And that still happens, but it really, print is more of a special thing now, and it's less of the everyday.
Yeah, like, there'll still always be a place for, the printed physical media, your merch, your physical displays, your printed pieces. But, it's just the
your
way
signage, gas.
Yeah.
Double A's are not an accident. We did that on purpose. If there had been more room, we'd have had 3 A's. But, okay, yeah. But yeah, there's still a place for print.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. I have a question for you, Lyndsey, right? In the World Economic Forum, I was doing my research and I saw they had a report on the future of jobs. They approached 803 companies, which at first I was like, 803 companies, is that so many? And then I realized that actually represented 11.3 million workers worldwide. So obviously those 803 companies have way more employees than we here have at Piquant, because we're a team of 18. But 11.3 million workers. So that's a lot of people. And they identified, and I think it's for the second year running, that analytical thinking and creative thinking were the most important skills for workers. So that's what you do every day. You absolutely combine your analytical skills with your creative skills. And I know, like, for example, when you're doing reports, am I right? It's not just about the data, right? It's the analysis of the data. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, those cognitive skills really topped that report, which is so interesting to see, and definitely makes sense in this era of AI, because at least for now, creative thinking, reasoning, decision-making are kind of the least automated tasks in the workforce. But reading the report also made me think about the findings really aligned with this recent rebranding of soft skills as power skills. Like, we all know that traditionally, hard skills have kind of been seen as more important, and labeling things like creative thinking as soft skills kind of diminishes their importance, especially when they can actually take more time and practice to perfect sometimes. And they're the kind of skills that you develop throughout your whole life through diverse experiences. So I think, to the question of how we can develop these skills, I think fostering a curious mindset is so important. It's about challenging assumptions, reading outside your comfort zone, exposing yourself to new ideas. So I think that that's something that we always encourage here within the team, always having this curious mindset. So seeking out diverse opinions and speaking to different people. So I was really happy to see that those skills were coming out on top yet again.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, I love that idea, the curious mindset. That's really lovely. So that if somebody is trying to develop their creative skills, it's really it's a great approach to have for them. And what about you? How do you actually practice that? How do you get yourself, I love that, out of your comfort zone, like into your stretch zone? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, I guess like consuming media and the arts are a huge part of that. So
True.
Reading, going to plays, going to experiences like that. But then I'm thinking even here within the team, our group lunches, where not a lot of eating happens and a lot of talking happens. So that is the perfect way for us to be exposed to new ideas. Here within the team, we have such a diverse group of people, and just talking to people, like hearing new ideas and experiences is the only way to develop your creative experiences and creative thinking.
Okay, anything you want to jump in on that? Do you have any kind of creative thinking skills, not skills, but tips. I know you've loads of skills. Very skillful at the creative, Kevin. But what about tips like, how do you keep them up there?
You go for a walk, go for a swim. You need to kind of stay active, and that kind of like fires up your brain and stuff. Like if you are looking at your computer trying to solve the problem that's in front of you, you can get stuck sometimes. Sometimes you need to shut it down, take a break, and let it kind of work away in your brain. So it's like you're not even directly thinking about it, but just having it sit back there and kind of work away. Bring it to other people, share it. It's a burden shared then at that stage.
Okay, they're good. And Lyndsey, here at Piquant, we have got a placement program to support the next generation of digital creatives. Talk me through that program and how it works and why it's important and how people apply.
Yeah, so how it works is that it's open to absolutely anyone, and we've got placements across each of the different departments within the team. So we've got a digital marketing placement, media production, and also design. So there's opportunities for every type of student to come in and learn from the team and gain loads of experience. We found that it's worked so well. We've had some amazing students over the years, and it's been great that we've developed to that point that we do have opportunities for students across the broad spectrum of creative sectors and learning. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's really right in line with this description of digital creative. But mind you, what I have to say is we don't do gaming. That's the one that we don't do. But we do, yeah, not yet. Yeah, not yet. We do have that kind of web element, but I guess that fits into the digital design and the content creation as well. But yeah, and so Kevin, what's your thoughts on how we can really foster creativity in that next generation, from what you're doing here at Piquant, but other ideas that you might have?
Yeah, so the first thing I'd say is that the third levels already do a great job of fostering that creative thinking. That like you can see it from the portfolios or the cover letters that they send in. They're brimming full of ideas. And really when they come into an industry like ours, it's more of a machine. And when you're in college, the burden is on you. You have to do everything yourself. You have to do all your research. You have to like take the project from start all the way to the finish. Whereas they come in here and they're working more in a kind of a more factory floor sort of a thing. We have processes for everything that we do. There's stages in every part of the design, the expression, development, activation. And there's no one that's solely responsible for every single stage. True, yeah. It really helps sharpen their skills to be following these steps and collaborating with different people on the team. And one tip that I would just have for any people coming in is just hand up early. Okay. Like, embrace failure. Do not be precious with your stuff. Sketch it out. I don't want to see work on a screen before I see it on a notebook. I just want to make sure that you get all your ideas out there, and then we can edit down. And that's really what the design process is. It's about editing down until you have the perfect solution there in front of you.
Okay, that's brilliant. And that actually really leads me into my next question, which is for both of you, about that process of design and creativity. And I love that tip of sketch it down, get it on paper first before putting all your time into making it beautiful. Part of the process, though, before you even know what to put on paper, can be that messy middle. Okay, that's that stage where you know what you have to do in your project, you've set out your goals, you have to come up with an idea or some copy or content or an approach or an initiative, but you haven't got the idea right now. It can be a very kind of lonely, dark, frustrating place, but it is part of the process, that messy middle. So I'm going to ask both of you, have you ever experienced messy middle? Be honest. And if you have, how do you get out of it? Okay, Lyndsey, you first.
Yes, I have definitely experienced it. I think it usually happens to me when I'm about 3/4 of the way or halfway through a strategy development process. What I kind of do is remind myself that it's part of the process, it's part of the journey. And then to deal with it, I suppose I can take advantage of the fact that we have a full service creative agency here. We have a diverse team. So it's about bringing other people in. And I can do that with my immediate team members. That's bringing you in to go through a strategy with me, or bring in team members from design or web or video. And I find that so helpful. And most of the time I do find that just by presenting what I have so far, it makes you realize that what you thought was really messy actually is fairly sound and maybe is closer to being done than you thought it was. Just bouncing those ideas around with everyone helps so much.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean. That and you know, that kind of, by even having to present it, it makes you have to be that bit surer as well, yeah? And hearing yourself say it helps formulate the idea.
I think we definitely find that I will say to you, I'm really struggling with this strategy. Can I just show it to you, present it to you? And then when I'm saying it, I'm thinking, actually isn't as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, you're full of great ideas, that's why. Yeah, I love that, and I'm with you. I love that, bouncing it around, the brainstorming. And Kevin, what about you? Have you ever experienced a messy middle?
I love the messy middle. It's my favourite part. Like, I could live in the messy middle. It's just, you know, it's
such a weirdo.
It's where, like, you know, the possibilities are endless. You could, like, come up with a million different ideas and they're all wrong, but they're all right. And you can go off on tangents and you can do anything. And I actually like it too much. So it's good to have timelines and all these sort of things in place, because otherwise I just, as I say, I'd live there and I'd never move on.
I find it so frustrating when I'm in there. And okay,
so having the timeline, having the team around you, that gives you an onus. There's nothing to sharpen the mind.
Did you always love that area, or is that something that developed over your career?
I think, you know, it's something that really came into play in our college. Like, you know, in our college they teach you about design thinking, and it's actually a burden now. I like wake up with ideas and stuff like that, so it's like,
do you have a notebook beside your bed?
No, so then I just end up going through them and I dream, so it's it's not good. But no, I like, it's just, there's, the ideas are endless, and I think I just embrace it.
So just roll with it, is yours.
But
so
also
don't stress.
Our clients love it as well. If we can bring the clients into that part of the project as well, they get so much out of it. They get so excited. They get really kind of G'd up. I think that's where the kind of R&D part of a product journey really kind of just, it can really help push the innovation. Embrace
the messy middle. Be confident in what you know. That's what I'm getting. Okay. So genuinely, this is the final question. So, and if just to come back to that roadmap where we started of the digital creative industries, the importance of collaboration and communication is highlighted, and they are something that I know both of you guys love. But an action has been set out to establish an industry forum to capture the voice of industry. I'm very interested to see how that's going to roll out, and to facilitate that idea of exchanging information and just by, like you were saying, Lyndsey, about by sharing or by brainstorming how we get more. So how important do you guys find collaboration in creativity, and how do you work that into your workflow so that it's always happening, not something you think of afterwards? So again, I'll start with you, Lyndsey, and then over to you, Kev.
Yeah, I think collaboration underpins everything we've been talking about so far, and collaboration helps with developing creative thinking. It's a really important skill that is so important to the workforce now and into the future. It helps with the messy middle. Like it's kind of threaded through everything we talked about today. So absolutely, collaboration is 100% so important.
And talk to me about how it's built into the workflow at Piquant.
Huddles.
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 Yeah, we only say huddles if we're talking to a client. We don't use the word cuddles, but that's what they are. Okay.
Absolutely. And that is something that we do quite a lot. And they can be impromptu. They're not always things that are planned in advance. It's, you can just pop into the next office and say, can I gather some people for a huddle or a cuddle? And it works so well.
Okay, Kev, tell me about how you build that collaboration into your workflow.
Yeah, it's the same way that Lyndsey just mentioned there, just having people on hand and everyone being available all the time. But I think what's not more interesting, but equally interesting is when you collaborate with your clients, because you know, when we work with a client, it has to be collaborative for it to be successful. And we do these workshops with them. We gather their feedback. We challenge them on ideas, and only by doing that do you end up with like the perfect result. Like, they are the key holders to their own brand. Yeah. It's not for us to come in and change everything the way we see fit. Yeah. We has to be collaborative.
I think you're absolutely right. And when we collaborate with our clients, that is when we can guarantee the best results.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So, Lyndsey and Kevin, thank you both for taking part in the first GASP. Okay, I was very nervous. Were you nervous?
Yeah.
No, Kevin, be honest.
I was, yeah.
You are, okay. It's okay to be nervous. It's part of the messy middle, right? So, listeners and watchers, whoever you are, if you are there, thanks for your patience and thanks for being part of the first ever GASP video podcast. We have big plans and we want to do lots more of these, and we will be talking to other guests about creativity and exploring that idea of storytelling in the digital industry, the digital creative industry. GASP has been produced by Piquant. Thanks a million. Gurmahakat. Salon. See you next time.